Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to tell you tonight is extremely serious. It's not something that you don't know about. The grave situation that this country is facing. We've lost a colleague today. We've lost a relative. I've lost a relative. And I know of several friends, colleagues who are in various hospitals or at home facing and fighting the COVID-19 second wave infections. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've been caught completely off guard. Religious gatherings have been allowed. Political rallies are continuing with the complete abandon, and it's business as usual in many parts of the country. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we need to pause and think. We are terrifyingly close to the 2 lakh per day infection mark. In fact, the numbers that have just come in from Delhi at over 17,000 people infected in the last 24 hours has surpassed Mumbai, which we were looking at with round and shocked eyes over the last 10 days. Today, 13 lakh plus active cases are around in India, and 1,000 deaths have taken place over the last just 24 hours. A 1.84 lakh infections a day, close to 2 lakhs, ladies and gentlemen, and that can tell you the seriousness of the problem that we are looking at this point in time. These numbers are not just shocking, but these numbers are really something that need to wake us up, because not just hospital beds, not just ICUs, it's actually medicines that are life-saving drugs like Remdesivir, which are completely in short supply. I've had to approach I don't know how many people for a single colleague, one person, and an injection of Remdesivir. And if that is something that we in the media have to face when we meet these policy makers and we meet these professionals from politics running governments in the state and at the center, then you can imagine what the fate of the common man is. Let me look at the fresh crisis in the war against COVID. The mutated form of the virus has resulted in several people falling severely ill with respiratory diseases, ventilators, oxygen supplies extremely limited, and injections of Remdesivir, as I said, completely out of reach in the capital. I don't know what the situation in remote areas, in rural areas is, but in Delhi, Remdesivir is almost, like getting your hands on some sort of gold mines, and it is being sold in black. Also, crematoriums flooded. In fact, the gas incinerators have virtually stopped functioning in many parts of the country, in many cities. New open crematoriums are coming up. Look at the number of deaths. Are the numbers right? Well, I don't want to get into that debate. The fact of the matter is that this is a grim situation. Who's to be blamed? Us? Political parties where rallies are taking place, where gatherings are happening, is it the religious congregations? I don't know. The blame game can continue till the cows come home. But the fact of the matter is, it's you, me, and every Indian who's caught in the crossfire. Take a look at this ground report, which is hair-raising.
13,500 COVID cases were reported in the last 24 hours in the national capital. The situation only going from bad to worse. If you talk about hospitals, medicines are not there in adequate quantity. The hospitals are running short on beds, ventilators. You can see there are people who are sitting on the footpath waiting for their turns to come over here. If you talk about the bed capacity, if we talk about the situation with regard to COVID-19, it is very, very grim in Delhi.
As the cases of coronavirus are rising in the national capital, DRDO once again is opening Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID Hospital near the Indira Gandhi International Airport. This hospital is being made operational again. The work is going on, and within weeks' time, this hospital will come up with 500 beds equipped with ICU facilities.
There has been an aggressive growth of the COVID-19 virus in the state of Karnataka, especially in the city of Bengaluru, which is accounting to about 70% of the cases. Now, while the cases are on the rise, there have also been reports of an acute shortage of beds at the hospital, and also the life-saving drug Remdesivir as well is in short supply.
Right now we are at the Nalanda Medical College Hospital here in Patna, and this is the COVID testing center of the NMCH. You can clearly see that there is utter chaos here. This is the registration center, and you can see how people have crowded the desk there. No social distancing has been made. There are no social norms and guidelines which has to be followed are being followed here. This is the registration center where people are coming to register themselves. No social distancing, no guidelines being followed. People have crowded this place. There are no officials there.
Well, if this situation isn't enough for us to know how deeply grim the situation is, take a look at the decisions that the government has had to take today. But not before at least lakhs and lakhs of students and teachers and parents signed various representations and sent it to the central government and to the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, this sudden surge has now resulted in the central government and the Prime Minister himself chairing a meeting to take a call on board exams for both 10th standard and 12th standard. Consequently, the opposition, which has been calling for the cancellation of these board exams, have finally edged the government to take a call to cancel 10th board exams completely, while for the 12th class students, the decision has been taken to postpone the board exams, but a final decision will be taken only on the 1st of June after keeping students hanging in the air for 6 weeks, and then another 2 weeks or notice will be given before exams will be called on again. The question that is being asked by many: are we taking students for granted? Will students suffer, or is the decision to cancel being completely overboard and something that has really been decided to do to help students? And that really is the legitimate question on the News Hour tonight. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there is a board exam chaos that exists in the country for all those who are embarking on a new career path. They don't know where they stand, while others are heaving a sigh of relief that at least for now it's been postponed because the COVID situation is scary. And that really is the debate. And coming up on the other side, we'll take your calls. We'll take calls of students, because for us, the students are in the middle of this crossfire, and what they want is something certainly authorities in state governments and the central government should be heard.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Guru Prakash, spokesperson of the BJP, Advocate Anuba Srivastav Sahai, President of India White Parents Association, Professor Simrit Kaur, Principal of SRCC, Delhi University, Divya Bhatia, Principal of Amity International School, Saket, Jasmine Shah, Vice Chairperson of the DDC, and the Aam Aadmi Party representative, Ghanshyam Tiwari, National Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. But my first question goes to Jishnu Kapadia. He is a class 12 student joining us live from DPS in Surat. And Jishnu, I want to ask you, are you relieved that exams are not taking place at this point in time? Or do you think this decision possibly could have been taken earlier if the government was paying attention to students and their futures and not been over involved in, political rallies and elections in various parts of the country?
Ma'am, basically this situation is really crucial for not just me as a student but basically from a person from the majority as well a person in a minority. Each and every Indian is facing this problem, not just an Indian but each and every person in the world. And it is really, it is a crucial situation, whether it is, and also delicate as well, because there is no hint of dropping COVID cases right now. And I don't know if the, I would say the CBSE had any idea regarding it, because if they actually did that, the second wave is going to hit us hard, then I think so that it was quite irresponsible of CBSE to just, making a decision just right now. Because we as students, we feel so much anxiety, we have so much pressure going on. For one instance, if we just say that if we go to the COVID centers, and even if we as individual catch COVID, but what about our family? So I would like to share some personal info. Basically my mother just recovered from COVID, and I know what personal and the trauma, mental trauma and health trauma that she has been through. As a child, it was like unbearable for me. And in this situation where last March only approximately 15,000 cases were there, and this year it has caused approximately, like as you said, 1,85,000 cases. We are on the verge of crossing 2 lakh cases per day. And even if the CBSE is thinking of conducting examination in this kind of situation, I don't know what more.
So you're saying you're relieved that the exams have been postponed? Are you saying you're relieved that the exams have been postponed, or do you think you will now have anxiety which will last till 1st of June till you know when it will finally be conducted?
Yes, ma'am. It is really a situation full of pressure, because in the upcoming days, students are really confused if they have to prepare for competitive exams, or they have to look after their health. There are so much mixed feelings among the students themselves that we are just in a situation of turmoil. It's a lot of chaos.
Well, lot of chaos, lot of turmoil. Divya Bhatia, I want to ask you. You are the principal of a school where you must be dealing with the 12th standard students. Some of them say they have to go abroad, and therefore a degree, a marks, their board exam certificates are important. Some of them who have to apply to universities also need their certificates. Some of them say that they've already done 4 practicals, and now that this exam has been postponed, they're in a confused state of mind. How do you handle a situation like this? Do you think it could have been handled better?
Well, actually, Navika, CBSE has been debating the conduct of exams. We had worked out SOPs and, like how the protocol for exams, having 12 students in a room. The planning was all done, but I think the sudden surge was not really envisaged. And now that the situation has become so alarming, the decision to postpone the exams really has no alternative, because as you're saying, practicals have been conducted, some of them. But even during the practicals, there were children who were absenting themselves because either they had COVID, or we told them that even if a single family member was down with fever, even though they had not been tested yet, they were not to come to school because we were fearful of the other children. So that the practicals were being conducted, they're not complete. So really speaking, this was, we were not sure. Everybody was on tenterhooks all the time. There were practical examiners who were going to take exams, and they contracted COVID. So here I think the government's decision is absolutely correct, because we can't put the children at risk. Jishnu is very right here, because children can't be put at risk. They are vulnerable. Schools can't become containment zones. They can't be COVID centers. And one child coming with an infection can be a carrier for all the children, even if they're 12 in a room. Having said that, I know children must be facing a lot of anxiety, because this was the moment where they were kind of going to get over with school and get into their life and get into their career molds, getting into colleges. So a lot will have to be worked upon here. One, yes, if the situation improves and the exams can still take place in June, 15 June, if things become better, fingers crossed. I'm not sure, hearing the statistics from you and reading the statistics, it's actually a very scary situation. If it becomes better and exams are conducted in June, maybe they can take up the more important papers and like they had done last time and calculate the marks on some averages, try to finish the exams by the first week of July. There can be more correction centers so that by end of July or beginning August, the results can be declared. Then yes, university admissions in in India will be linked to the CBSE exams. And universities abroad in any case begin in September. There's a small percentage of children from India that do apply to universities abroad. So it could be done that way, but that is thinking very, very positively. The other thing is handling the anxiety in children, and I think that is what we need.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I have a caller who's calling in, Kamlesh calling in from Vadodara. Good evening. What is your question, Kamlesh, and to whom do you want to address that question?
Good evening, Navika. Thank you for the opportunity. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening, and we can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I think the decision taken by government is a perfect one because we can have a debate and maybe people would be happy if some people would be disappointed. That's not the way. We cannot keep everyone happy at a time. The only question is, second debate is going on that we must vaccinate children above 18 just so that the 12th exam can be conducted. Now, where are vaccines available? Even for 45 years and above, there is a shortage of vaccine. And if we add up 18 years above to vaccinate, where the situation will go?
Good question and good point for the debate. Also joining us is Mr. Swaminathan from Bengaluru. Good evening, sir. What's your question?
Yeah, Navika, good evening. I think it was the most sensible decision to postpone the exam. But now that this COVID is going to continue maybe for many more years to come, I think the very system of examination and the marking has to be changed. Best is to have a semester system from class 11th to 12th, so that if you are not able to have one exam, you can average it out and give the marks. I think that could be a
fair suggestion.
Solution.
Fair suggestion. I hope the HRD minister is listening to you. Thank you very much for joining me on the News Hour. Major Satya joining in from Hyderabad. Major Satya, good evening. What's your question?
Good evening, Navika. It is very humble to speak with you. I just have one point that all the students of 10th or 12th need to have some, stable mind, to prepare the exams. There are a lot of things are going on since last 1 year, COVID. There were online exams which are going on. They were not able to prepare or study well. So they need to have a good time before appearing to the exam. Government has, postponed the exams. It is a very good decision so that in the turmoil they have a peace of mind in preparing for their exams and prepare very better.
Well, thank you very much, Major Satya. Great suggestion. So let me come across to you, Ms. Simrat Kaur. I want to ask you, many people have welcomed now because clearly students are not in a situation in the mental state where they can concentrate on their studies and therefore most people welcoming. But what is really coming up from viewers who are calling in is the fact that there has to be a more detailed approach to the way we're leading our lives, including education. The amount of time possibly that goes into planning of politics and elections is possibly not being given to education because they're saying that, we may have to live with this for long. We've already lived with it for 1 year, and just when we thought, COVID and the nasty situation was behind us, we have the second wave coming in. So Simrat Kaur, are we looking at this situation in a knee-jerk fashion, or do we need a more thought-out, considered rollout plan for a new policy, keeping in mind the new ways of life that we are experiencing?
Navika ji, I think you have very rightly summarized the situation. There were 3 words which I captured while you were introducing the session today. You started off with the word alarming, then you went to grim, and you actually winded up by saying scary. So if the situation is scary, certainly the decision of the government is both wise and mature. But looking at it from a broader perspective and a policy perspective, the entire debate today comes to the mindsets of the students, the life sets which we have to save, and the capability sets which I call the resource sets, which again very beautifully you have highlighted that most of the resources are scarce. And in such a situation, the one thing that we can strategize is to postpone this particular examination. But this is only the beginning, it is not the end of the story. There are several psychological impacts of this on the students' mindset and also ultimately for the nation. What we have realized is the use of the technology in teaching learning mechanisms, and going forward, I think it's the right time for the students to remain positive in their attitude. There has to be a 24/7 counseling, which if not the schools, then the government should also pitch in. It should be totally free of cost, which is both psychological as well as career counseling. And at the same time, students must continue to adapt and keep on learning their skill sets. You don't necessarily have to be going to the school. There are several courses which a student can take up. So with a combination of all these things, only then we can actually think up of a program where this kind of a pandemic the country is able to address. But looking at the allocations of the budget on the education sector, even though we have been promising about 6% of it going to this sector, it has not been so the case until now. Specifically, if we talk about the higher education. So the government has to rethrust its emphasis on the education. But given the kind of a scary situation we are in now, the last budget, we do know the fiscal deficits have gone very high and education budget dipped. But I again think it was the right strategy because life right now, saving lives is foremost. And in this situation, I think I would again advise my dear students, life is too long and too huge. One particular year here or there should not actually impact. If your vision is narrow and very short-term oriented, your class 12th and 10th means the whole world to you. But 20 years down the line, you realize that actually your class 10th is not impacting your further education so much. My advice on this would be, of course,
that's
I know
well
that
said.
We don't.
That's well said. So
we are at the beginning of the end of this pandemic, or are we still at the end of the beginning? It's a totally unprecedented scenario. We don't know the intensity it's going to take up. So it's a very ambiguous situation in which the government is taking a call. So one step at a time, I think for the time being, the government has done the right thing of postponement. But more importantly, the additional time that the government is now going to get, it must understand and have a decision tree kind of a thing. What if the situation continues? How are they going to evaluate the students? And if the situations are better, then we do know there would be an examination. So I'm sure there would be a lot of deliberations and strategizing with the Ministry of Education right now, and hopefully we would.
That's an important point. That's an important point. You mentioned three words. I think I need to add another word. Yes, it's alarming. Yes, it's grim. Yes, it's extremely serious and scary. The word I would want to use is it's petrifying. But Jasmine Shah, the important point that Simrat Kaur makes is the fact that we don't know the kind of situation we are in. So do you think the decision to postpone these exams of class 12 and cancellation of the 10th exams have been the best decision that have been made with regard to the current situation that is prevailing in the country with regard to COVID?
Navika, first of all, we welcome these decisions that have done the job of providing some amount of relief to crores of students who are going through a very stressful year. Having said that, and you're aware that, a few days back, it was Honorable CM Arvind Kejriwal who made a very vocal appeal to the union government that this is not the time to dilly-dally on issues of matter of life and death for our children, and we should cancel these examinations. Now, having said that, we are disappointed that the examinations for 12th standard have not been cancelled, merely postponed a few weeks later. This clearly shows that, somewhere the gravity of the moment that we are in as a nation has still not been accepted by the central government. We know that the way the cases are rising, India is possibly, today it is number 2 in the world in terms of COVID cases, but in terms of number of deaths, we have never had so many deaths so far. So this obsession with examinations and the fact that a 3-hour examination is going to summarize what a child has learned through the course of a year is, unfortunately very, very parochial. So many countries who are even better off than us have today cancelled all kinds of school examinations. But here we are today in a situation where, rather than alleviating or providing some relief to our students, we are only aggravating their misery by, continuously delaying and not taking decisions where we know that, there could be so many models.
Jasmine Shah, I knew the politics would come in sooner than later. And you're right, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal as the Chief Minister has been asking for cancellation of these exams or postponement. Now that the postponement has been done, Jasmine Shah, you're questioning why are the 12th standard exams being postponed. I want to ask you, Rome was not built overnight. Do our education systems need an overhaul? Yes, they do. Can it be done overnight? Certainly not. Cannot be done overnight. Third, as far as class 10 exam, 1 minute. Let me at least complete my argument before before you rebut me. I'm saying class 10, was it a question of life and death? Not really, because most students still have to go through 2 years more of school or mid-school or junior college or whatever you call it. The fact is they still have time before they hit their so-called professional careers. The question I'm asking you is, foreign universities require some sort of a certificate, a mark sheet. There are universities that are based on certain cutoff marks that you get. And so the government did what it could do in a hurry, which is postpone the class 12 exams, and they will come up with an idea because they have taken a 6-week break to come up with that idea. Are you being too harsh, or are you really forgetting the practicality of overhauling a system in the next 6 weeks when these informations haven't been shared with universities and their admission process or universities abroad and their requirements? So I want to ask you, Jasmine Shah, those students which need these kind of things, details, are also part of India, as much part of this system as those who are happy about the cancellation of exams. Wouldn't you want to think about them?
Navika, I'll tell you why I'm not being too harsh. 6 months back, government very well knew that we are in a once-in-a-century pandemic. And I'll be surprised if CBSE would not have worked out scenarios wherein we would be in the middle of a situation where we are, where conducting examinations would be mere foolish and it would be almost, inflicting misery on our children. So therefore, what would be the alternative models which would be acceptable to international universities, national institutions, should have already been worked out. If it has not been worked out, that's not a problem. Look at other countries. UK has cancelled all their examinations. France has cancelled all their examinations. These are fairly large countries. Do you think their students are not going to go abroad or study in any other institution? So I'm sorry, this displays a complete lack of imagination and preparation. Very much what we are seeing even with the vaccination rollout. And it is unfortunate that the cost and the price of this is being paid by young children.
Can't argue with that point of view. Mr. Guru Prakash of the BJP, the allegation is that you've taken far too long. You already knew it was a grave situation. You didn't think out of the box. You don't even want children below 18 to be vaccinated. Teachers are not frontline workers, so many of them haven't been vaccinated. How do you expect life as usual, business as usual, exams as usual, and education as usual to go on? You should have thought better, and you had time to think better, Guru Prakash ji. But the fact is that election planning takes majority of the time, but education planning possibly has taken the back seat. That's the allegation.
Navika ji, I think it's a case of false equivalences when you compare an election with the planning of education. But let me at the outset thank you for actually having a serious stakeholder discussion on your show tonight. I can see we have school administrators. I was just listening to my friend Jishnu from DPS Gujarat. And Jishnu, I'm very happy that your mother has recovered, and I'm sure you'll be playing a more constructive role in getting a positive atmosphere in the family. As far as the concerns or the allegations of my friend from Aam Aadmi Party are concerned, let me make this very clear that I'm happy that he admitted that this is unprecedented, once in a 100-year type of a scenario. But there are some positive milestones as well. As far as the health of our students are concerned, the Honorable Prime Minister has time and again, only recently the Pariksha Pe Charcha discussion which was done, which shows his commitment. It shows the commitment of the entire top leadership of not only the government, but also at the Education Minister. They had a stakeholder discussion, and only
so Jasmine Shah, let me ask you, while you have blamed the central government, the BJP government, the Modi government for not thinking imaginatively, I want to ask you, with the numbers today and yesterday, 13,500 infections in Delhi coming positive, and today it's 17,500, an increase of 4,000 in just 24 hours. Look at the number of deaths. You could have planned better. You could have anticipated better. You could have handled these questions. These questions can be asked of you as well. So, Jasmine Shah, it's very easy to blame the others. What about your own performance, the Delhi government's performance?
Navika, it's a fair question. And thank you for asking that, because we are not going to evade any question when it comes to accountability. See, as far as the curve of COVID that the entire country is seeing, there is something extraordinary happening at this time. There are certain factors that are under the control of a state government, like managing your hospital bed situation, ensuring that critical supplies are in place or not. And there you see today that even with 17,000 cases, 5,000 COVID beds are available in Delhi today. You cannot say that of many other metros in our country. Ventilator beds are available, oxygen beds are available, ambulances are reaching in time. Nobody is being left unattended. So that is what our preparation has led it to.
I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to embarrass you publicly, but I will not name the person, but I did call the Delhi government representative. I will not name the person, and asked for a colleague of mine a remdesivir injection that was required urgently. So I made the first call in the morning at 8 o'clock. I haven't heard back. And remdesivir has not been made available. And this is when I can pick up the phone and call somebody in the Delhi government. Now, I'm not using a personal situation because I can possibly pick up the call and speak to you or some representative, but there are many who can't. So when you pat yourselves on the back, I want you to just think that it is a resident of Delhi, it is a citizen of Delhi who's facing a remdesivir shortage, and if the central government has not been able to provide, neither has the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi been able to provide that remdesivir vaccination. This is a personal experience for a colleague that I'm sharing. I don't want to get into further details, but Ghanshyam Tiwari, I want to ask you, do we politicize everything? Yes, it is an unprecedented situation. Yes, when it comes to managing hospitals, beds, ICUs, oxygen, everything is a problem. Then how come the problem of managing exams gets highlighted and the central government is blamed when every single state, let's be fair, is facing the same challenges? Nobody can claim that they've been able to tackle the situation and well.
Navika ji, April 3 to April 12, the cases in India doubled. Did we hear the Prime Minister lead us forward or lead us backward? I think the Prime Minister led us backward with his focus on Bengal. That aside, with respect to the forward planning, now that the case is 185,000, you have data available to say that how many patients would require oxygen as a rule of thumb, how many beds should be required. Hospitalization rates across the world have been one measure for governments to do forward planning. Where is that forward planning? That aside, with respect to the exams itself, for 1 year, children have not gone to school. The new education policies that this government brought with much fanfare, actually, this government is in a great position to actually implement it, which focuses on elective-based models. If they really want to take a step forward, a leap forward, they could have created a round-robin model of examination rather than having one-ticket examination that on one day crores of students have to come together to write examination. Why? You could have examinations where on a need basis people should be able to schedule their examination. Subjects could be marked as electives, and there has to be. We are a country which has maximum number of graduates, top institutions, if you give them the leadership, if you give the leadership to the IITs and the SRCCs, do you think they can't figure out the solution? But you will not give the leadership. You want Prime Minister to speak about exam work, charcha. The Prime Minister was clueless about what he was going to do with respect to board exams when he was doing exam pe charcha. This country cannot be run on knee-jerk
and other state governments, the Rajasthan state government led by the Congress party, which has postponed exams, they are fine. They haven't changed any education system, but that's okay because you will not criticize them. The only burden of performance is only on the central government. Well,
it's not okay.
Fair enough. You expect more out of Modi. Fair enough. Guru Prakash respond. वो बाकी ऑपोजिशन स्टेट से एक्सपेक्ट ही नहीं करते हैं एक्सपेक्ट तो सिर्फ मोदी जी से एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं इन्हें जवाब दे दीजिए
नविका जी this is fairly rich coming from the spokesperson of Samajwadi Party when his own party chief Mr. Akhilesh Yadav has been raising question mark on the integrity and on the scientific basis of the vaccine. So I think it's fairly rich to comment upon the COVID handling situation. I would like to remind my friend from the Samajwadi Party that the cumulative vaccine coverage has already exceeded 11 crores on the 4th day of Tika Utsav. More than 26 crore tests conducted with 14 lakh tests in the last 24 hours. I can go on and on. As far as the COVID management is concerned, as far as the leadership in the crisis is concerned, we have got and we have moved ahead. So when you raise question on the forward planning, when you raise question on the credibility, let me make this very clear that not only the concerns of our own citizens, but also concerns of citizens across the globe we have seen. We have catered to them. So this is not the time to hurl allegations. This is a time to constructively state and center.
Absolutely not a time for political blame game, and who better than Anubha Srivastav Sahai, president of the India White Parents Association, which had sent a representation. Today I want to just ask you one simple question. Anubha Srivastav, are you happy the government has taken the call that it has? Yes, it puts some pressure because students will have to hang around for 6 weeks waiting for the final date, and it will continue to have stress given our current education system. But for now, in this kind of a situation, at least neither the teachers, invigilators, nor the students will have to expose themselves to the challenges outside that would really happen in a exam if it had been held in physical presence of these students.
Yes, Navika ji, this is a very good decision which was being taken by the central government. In fact, we have been following up with Maharashtra state government since past 2 months for taking up such kind of decision, but they have not taken any decision. They kept it on hold, and then we took a move, and I wrote a mail and a letter to Honorable PM of our country, Mr. Modi ji, to have a uniform decision for all the students across India. So today they have taken a decision for 10th board students, and I think all the state government should also follow what the CBSE has done today and promote all the 10th board students. As far as 12th is concerned, I know it is a difficult, tricky situation for 10th board students. Many students are writing to me that even 10th board exam should be cancelled, and yes, I'm in favor of that because right now it is not the right time to conduct any kind of physical examination. But yes, we can come up with some kind of alternative mode of assessment for all these students if the situation is not controlled in few days' time. So right now, I think
there are students, there are parents, and there are teachers and principals of colleges and schools who have said that this is the right decision at the right time. Many even saying that opposition states have been requested but haven't taken a decision. But this is no time for a political blame game. What people are looking out for is now a more considered opinion and a more considered decision from the central government, and possibly taking state governments into confidence and building out a new policy just in case we have to be prepared for dealing with COVID over a long period of time, as many studies are suggesting. No knee-jerk reactions, a more considered, thought out and well laid out policy on what changes in the education system are required. For the moment, of course, students breathing a sigh of relief, as do parents, as Prime Minister steps in and takes the decision. Politicians in the opposition, please find time and common ground to cooperate to find this new magic formula which you and the central government and students of this country will benefit from. That will be called constructive nation building. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on debate number 1. Debate number 2 coming up on the other side.